Hello everybody, welcome back to the Mania 4K World Cup 2023. We said goodbye to 8 teams from our 32 that began their quest to climb the key smashing summit, and we now venture into the realm of potential matchups starting on Sunday. 12 more teams will be eliminated from our current 24, and it all begins with Seed 12 versus Seed 15, Hong Kong and Peru. I'm Raviel, and to kickstart the quarterfinals round, I'm joined with Sparky. What is up?
A lot's been going up, but oh my goodness, so excited to kick off this quarterfinals weekend with a hopefully very exciting matchup. As you mentioned, we got Hong Kong going up against Peru. Peru winning their last weekend matchup against the Ukraine, and Hong Kong unfortunately losing their matchup against Brazil, but not without taking a couple of points for the road, really showing off what they are capable of, and hopefully going to give Peru a bit of a run for their money to continue on to the second half of the quarterfinals weekend, alluding to the fact that this is a losers bracket match, so we will be saying goodbye to one of these teams before this match is over.
Yeah, Hong Kong were able to take 2 points off Brazil on Hybrid 2 and SV2, so Hong Kong would definitely like to try and bank on those skill sets against Peru this time round. Possibly protecting one of the SVs, I think, maybe.
Potentially. I think there's some pretty good stylistic choices for them to go into, either SV1 or SV2. It really just depends on what they feel more comfortable on. If they do opt to protect one of those, I think having the protect system in place for this World Cup has been pretty interesting, seeing a lot of the strategies being implemented by some of these teams, being able to hang on to something in the back pocket to kind of let loose at the opportune time to try and either swing momentum or really close a match out has been a nice dynamic to watch over the past couple of weekends.
Oh, but they are opting for LN1 actually, Astra walkthrough. If that is their protect, that's quite interesting because last weekend they actually banned LN1. It was against Brazil.
That's true. You do have some pretty monstrous LN players on Brazil's team. Don't want to get into a bit of a scrap there. Maybe feeling a little bit more adventurous when it comes to scoping out what Peru has been doing these past couple of weeks. Maybe sensing a little bit of weakness that they can exploit during this match. But now we wait for Peru to throw out their protect here. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw a response in the Rice side of the map pool here.
Yeah, definitely. I think Peru would probably be able to score their points in the Rice section. They do have a better Rice 1 score over Hong Kong. And there we go, Rice 2, the jump stream map, Cosmos Station is going to be protected.
Very nice, unsurprising there. I think it was a bit of a toss-up between Rice 1 and Rice 2. Both arguably the most straightforward maps in that Rice pool. You don't want to really dive into the tech and don't really want to jump into the core jacks, and unsurprisingly, SV1 going to get banned out here by Peru. Don't want to go toe-to-toe with Hong Kong there on that.
Yeah, if we look at the SVs from last weekend, both Hong Kong and Peru played both SV1 and SV2, and Hong Kong have a better total of 102,000 on SV1 and 446,000 on SV2, so it is quite jarring over there. I think Hong Kong would definitely like to pick SV2 eventually.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they even opened it up when it comes their turn to pick. Just really secure themselves at first immediate point if they really wanted to. That, or they could let it linger for a little bit. Just let it stew as this match progresses. There's really no need to jump into it if they feel they have a very distinct advantage over Peru on that.
Yeah, but for Hong Kong's ban, I'm actually not too sure what they will ban this time around. I was thinking maybe Rice 1 now, if that's the case.
Yeah, that might be a pretty decent response. That or Rice 3. I know with the introduction of these higher BPM core jack picks, it really starts to become a bit of a black and white situation where either you can play it or you can't. And depending on if you have that third person to really shore up the scores, maybe wanting to get rid of something like that just to ensure you don't get into a bit of a ratio battle. But it's going to be Nisimono instead. So one of the more tech-oriented picks in that right side of the pool. And that'll do it for the protects and bans. And now we just wait for that all-important first pick here.
Yeah, Hong Kong have a lot they can really go for. I think every single skill set here, Rise Hybrid, LN, and SV, are all pickable.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are probably some more dangerous options in this pool for Hong Kong, but they have a pretty decent grip on, like you mentioned, everything in this pool. So I think it's just going to come down to what they feel most comfortable going for first, because you really do want to start a match off like this on the right foot. Don't want to hand over a breakpoint by accident to your opponent here.
Yeah, if they want to avoid accidental breakpoints at the start, probably shifting away from Rise would be good. I think maybe looking at Hybrid LN or the SV2 would be the best start for them.
Yeah, for sure. SV2, probably the easiest decision out of everything left in this pool. But I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to kind of get the ball rolling with the LNs, maybe something like Aranias or Heaven's Fall. Maybe leave the Protect for later if they really feel the need to bring it out.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Peru didn't play any of the LN maps last weekend. Hong Kong only played LN2 as well.
Okay,
So not a lot of information of the LNs.
Well, that could throw a little bit of a spanner in the works for Hong Kong. But right now, it looks like they're going to go for Hybrid 2 instead. So pretty decent middle of the road option. If they have everything available to them, why not go right dead center?
Yeah, so if my notes are serving me right, this is apparently the jackier hybrid out of the three.
Yeah, a couple bit more Rice difficulty involved should bode well for both squads. It's just a matter of who can basically tank their way through some of the more difficult sections easier.
Yeah, and we do see Hong Kong's hybrid lineup, Quotient, Ocean Stage, and Magnetus. These three players did play 2 hybrid maps last weekend, so they are sticking in for the hybrid map of this round. And we do see Lalito and Akenyi and Pooh Slayer.
Yeah, I highly doubt they're going to do any last minute substitutions unless there's somebody needing to come in, but the MP Star command does come out. It's going to be Degen Stage 5, Quotient, and Meg Mewtwo Z for Hong Kong going against Lalito 898, Akenyi, and Pooh Slayer in this first map of this best of 11. Good luck to all the players involved, and let's get right on into Upload Your Mind here.
A couple of patterns to definitely watch out are the anchors that are littered throughout this entire map, which can definitely catch a few of these players off guard if they're not careful enough.
Yeah, for sure, but at least for the beginning portions of this chart, pretty easy to read through. A couple of 3 column bursts to read through, but Quotient actually finding the first break here before that 400 combo cap, gonna give a early lead over to Peru to start this map off, and that was a pretty significant drop. Meg falls as well.
Yeah, this is not the start that Hong Kong wanted. There is a trade from Lalito though.
A trade from Lalito does stem some of the bleeding here for a little bit. It does actually begin a bit of a tug of war between the two countries, but Pooh Slayer falls as well. Pretty significant accuracy drop from them as well, dropping down into that 98% range as we get into this first drop. Second third of the map upcoming, and Hong Kong now taking a massive lead as Akenyi falls as well. All 3 FCs gone from the side of Peru. Only Ocean Stage 5 stays standing through it all. Oh, but Meg falls as well once again.
Yeah, this map is brutal. Another one from Meg, and this lead it's going to shrink because Meg's accuracy dipped all the way down to 99.2.
Yeah, but miraculously enough, still able to stay ahead of Pooh Slayer, who also had a couple of significant drops as well. And as they cross that 400 combo cap once again, Akenyi falls once again, but it's traded back again by Meg Mewtwo Z and Quotient as well. nobody really wants to hold on to combo right now, and this is making a bit of a spicy last quarter up and coming right now. No, absolutely not.
Oh!
As Brazil also once again.
That lead almost went to Peru. It's really just OSDGen stage, but Magmutus misses again.
Yeah, this lead is shrinking.
Oh, there it goes! But Magmutus misses again, trades with Pulse Slayer though. So the lead is back in Hong Kong as we enter the final stages. Mag misses again, but it trades with Akenyi. Akenyi actually suffering a little bit more damage there, and now the lead is about 7,000 points. OSDGen stage has to hold on.
Yeah, and through it
I think they will hold on to the end.
Oh my goodness, what a first
match. That was a very close one. Yeah, and that was an FC from OSDGen stage. Wow.
That is an incredible run and hopefully a sign of things to come. Some pretty intense back and forths already off of this first map. And Hong Kong, despite it, everything manages to hang on for their first point to make it 1-0.
Yeah, that wasn't comfortable at all. And some people think about if they're going to go for hybrids, but they should be looking at Rice first. And they are going with Rice, so Break the Silence comes out.
Pretty good response compared to the earlier hybrid pick, just dedicating themselves to one side of the map. Well, it looks like they're gonna opt to stay in this upper half for the duration of this match. Can pretty much run the gamut of Rice 1 through 5 without really needing to dive anywhere below that. So it'll be interesting to see how they do on this particular pick.
Yeah, this map is a mixed bag of jacks. It is very mini-jacky, a lot of speed. And we saw with Hybrid 2 how jacky that map can be, and it did trip up a lot of the players, everyone but OSDGen stage actually missing, so we could see a similar situation, especially since there are not going to be any swaps, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it so far. I think the one good thing for all the players is that there's considerably less LN to worry about. Maybe just the transitions in between some of those structures really catching players off guard. And with this being a more a completely dedicated Rice pick, they won't have to deal with a lot of the holds. So we'll see how they do here. See if Peru can respond back or if Hong Kong could pick up that first break point in this match as we get on into map 2 here, Break the Silence.
Peru over the last couple of map pools have been able to go toe-to-toe on Rice maps with a couple of their opponents, so we'll see if they'll be able to try and nick a few points off Hong Kong.
Yeah, for sure. Strong starts all across the board. Everybody hanging on in that 99% range. Just a bit of accuracy drops across the board. As Akenyi actually finds the first drop. First FC falls for the side of Peru. Going to give a bit of a lead for Hong Kong to work with as they all cross that 400 combo cap now.
Yeah, they started with a little bit of shaky accuracy beginning, and that has also costed them the combo.
Yeah, for sure. Down into that low 99% range. Both Post Layer and Lalito hanging about that 99.6 range, able to stay within striking distance of both OSDGen Stage 5 and Quotient at the moment. But right now, the standout performance is Meg for Hong Kong, able to really shore up some of this lead that they have been given going into the second quarter. And Post Layer falls now, and that's 2 FCs gone from the side of Peru.
Yeah, and that was Peru's highest accuracy as well. Now the highest accuracy goes to Lalito, but Magmutus will trade. So the lead softens up a little bit, but accuracy is still in favor of Hong Kong.
Yeah, where Meg falls, Quotient starts to pick up the slack here, 99.78, and climbing in terms of their accuracy, having that extra FC in the back pocket as well from OSTJ on stage 5. Really helps here and keeps this lead at about 12,000 points as we get into this bit of the break section going into the middle point of the chart, but the back half is still pretty intense to get through. So we'll see if there are any responses and trades back and forth again.
For Peru to cling on, they really need to hope for Lalito to hold. And also hope for Hong Kong to break even more.
Yeah, it's going to take a couple of breaks here from the side of Hong Kong to give Peru any sorts of lifelines back into this map. But, I mean, there's still a third of the chart left to go, and anything can still happen, but everybody is navigating through this section very well. Everybody seems to have regained their bearings. No more breaks to speak of for the moment. As we transition into the last quarter of this chart, a couple of really nasty bursts to read through. And so far, everybody just seems to be climbing right now.
Yeah, accuracies across the board are just going up, and Hong Kong are actually benefiting from that. 15,000 points of the lead.
Yeah, really, nobody on the side of Peru able to climb up above that 99.7 mark, and Lalito, just as they were about to do so, finds the drop, and that one might be the final nail in the coffin for this run. It's going to take a number of misses coming out from the side of Hong Kong, and they don't seem to be in any sort of mood to hand any of this lead back. It has grown to 22,000 points. Post later falls once again, and I mean, this is looking to be the first break point going in favor of Hong Kong as we get into the last eighth of the chart.
Yeah, this has to be it now. Very strong team score from Hong Kong.
Yeah, what a way to
and
really
stamp.
Yeah.
To take this as a break point by almost 30,000 points, and that was almost a V1 from Quotient? Okay.
Oh wow, the singular 100 didn't even see that pop out. Still an incredible run from them. 994k is probably going to be one of the higher scores on this chart for the weekend, and Hong Kong very deserving of that first break point as they get the next pick here. And there's a couple of avenues they can go for. They can really turn the screw here with going for their LN Protect or pulling out that SV as well. Some really good options for them here.
Yeah, I'm thinking even the hybrids could work as well, something like Hybrid 1.
Yeah, it's definitely an option. I mean, considering how close Hybrid 2 was, maybe wanting to trend away from it, but it definitely has enough difficulty to maybe get away with a pretty solid team score overall. It really just depends on how daring Hong Kong feels right now. In fact, they could probably even just stay with the Rice picks if they were able to break the silence that convincingly. Maybe they can go for something like Rice 5 to really do a complete 180 on Peru here.
Yeah, I think the issue here though is that Vice 4 and Vice 5 are quite different in that Vice 4 is very jack bursty and Vice 5 is just like a vocal dump. A lot of fast streams, so...
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely...
And also Edison's open.
I feel like Edison might be a pick reserved for Peru if they wanted to get themselves back in it. But hey, you called it earlier, Hybrid 1 going to be the pick for Hong Kong here.
Yeah, the difference here between Hybrid 1 and Hybrid 2 is that Hybrid 2 has so many of those anchors and jacks, and we saw how much Hong Kong suffered on those. But Bloomin's more balanced.
Yeah, for sure. Gives you a pretty decent smattering of both LN and Rice to deal with. It's really just how well you can transition between the structures being asked of you, and we'll see if there are any substitutions. It looks like Ostige and Stage 5 swapping out here.
That would be interesting, because Ostige Stage has been like one of the more consistent players to play for any of the maps except for SV. Well, actually no, like they are the best SV player in Hong Kong, but that means they are like the most consistent player in Hong Kong, and to swap out for SO1 or So1, I think this is the first time we'll see them since I think round of 32?
Maybe they just really had consistent scores in their practices. That or they're here grief. They did say that themselves in the
Oh boy.
IRC chat. So, sign of a cross and see if Hong Kong can continue this point streak that they have started to build up, or if Peru can actually answer back and take a break point of their own here as we continue on with these hybrid picks for Hong Kong. Yeah, we see right out of the gate some pretty interesting accuracies, a very loud 200 from Seoul to kick this map off, and they're still hovering in this 98% range, but there are a number of people in that 98% range, and Seoul finding a massive drop, as well as Meg during...
That's a monumental drop. 96% as well as Mewtwo's there, you mentioned it. Quotient holding the highest accuracy in the lobby, it's not doing anything to this lead. 26,000 points to Peru.
Yeah, definitely not the start that Hong Kong was looking for on this pick. And Peru taking full advantage, still have 3 FCs on the board. Everybody in that 99% mark as Meg and Quotient try to kind of mitigate the damage here, but it might be too little too late. This is a pretty short map in comparison to some of the other maps in this pool, so not a lot of room for error, and Meg falls once again, not able to keep themselves above that 400 combo cap, and Peru running with it, doubling that score lead now, 40,000 as we get into the second break here.
And we still got that BPM changing section in the middle after this part. We'll see if that will trip up any of the players.
Yeah, the mood slows down and begins to pick up steam once again as we get into the next drop here. Everybody hangs on through that tiny Ellen burst. As I said, Kengi doesn't transition that well into it, but they have built up enough of a cushion to be able to tank their way through that miss, and it was a pretty clean miss overall, just losing about 0.1% in terms of their accuracy, and in comparison to their Hong Kong counterparts, faring much better, despite the fact that nobody on the side of Hong Kong answered back that miss here.
There is a very slight damage to Peru's lead, but the other 2 players of Peru still holding on.
Yeah, basically putting in the work, being able to answer back confidently on this hybrid pick, and as it comes to an end, this is starting to get a little bit bad to worse for Hong Kong. Another couple of drops from Meg, and despite the fact that Quotient held on for the FC and the highest accuracy in the lobby, it is going to be Peru taking back that break point and an opportunity to restore parity here going into the mid portion of this match.
Yeah, this just doesn't seem like it was a good pick from Hong Kong at the end.
Yeah, it just didn't work out in their favor. A couple of different factors could have played in there, but Peru will take what they can to kind of right the ship a little bit here. And once again, just an opportunity to restore parity here, giving that break point. And now they have to make the correct pick here. Absolutely. Just depends on which one. They do have Edison on the board. They do have their Protect as well, Cosmo Station, and Gypsophila as well as a maybe outside third pick. Maybe want to keep Rice 5 on the back burner unless absolutely needed.
Does seem like they will give this one a think. I would say Rice 1 would be a pretty reasonable pick. Rice 1 or Rice 2. I think Rice 3 might be a bit risky because Hong Kong did have a better Quad Jack score from last weekend than Peru, but Edison is a lot harder.
Yeah, that BPM jump can really catch some players off guard, and right now I think Peru just trying to make sure their roster's in order. They do have the benefit of having the tactical timeout, one of the lesser used pieces of tech that teams can employ to give themselves a little bit more time, but it is going to be LN2.
Okay. This will be interesting. Peru, like I mentioned, did not play Elens at all last weekend, but they are, I think, going to bring in Henry. Or is Henry just going to warm up? Because I did see Henry in the Henry being mentioned in the IRC chat. They were basically Peru's best player. Like, they MVP'd 7 maps last weekend.
Yeah, basically a hard carry performance, and maybe just giving them time to get themselves ready to get into this match, because the last thing you want to do is come in mid-match cold, and this is probably just a bit of a staying pick, see if they can make their way through this. It's one of the longer charts in the pool, just under 3 minutes. Maybe just giving them time to get in here, and Ostigen Stage 5 checks back in for Sol to round out this Hong Kong roster of Quotient and Meg. And meanwhile, Peru 3 for 3, about to be 4 for 4 on the same roster. Lalito, Kenyi, and Postlayer gonna wrap the storm here on Heaven's Fall.
Yeah, this is LN density, so very easy to chain some misses if you miss in the denser sections, which are the choruses.
Yeah, pretty much everything kind of flies off the handle in the choruses, and doing your best to hang on is going to be of the utmost importance. This introduction is just a little bit of an appetizer for what is to come. Basically turn all these rice notes into LN, and you have the majority of the structure of this chart, and everybody making it through relatively cleanly, able to stay above that 99.7 mark. But as I say that, Kenyi on the build-up, finding the drop, not even the real dense section. Now we're in to the first real bridge.
Yeah, this is where the main difficulty comes in now.
Yeah, it's just a rain of 1/4.
Struggling in accuracy.
Down into that 99.37 range is Postlayer, but still able to hold on to the FC for the moment, as a Kenyi once again not able to really keep themselves above that orange combo cap for the moment. Maybe just the BPM catching them out a little bit as they try to read their way through some of these structures. Meanwhile, on the side of Hong Kong, 3FC's still going strong. Meg and Quotient really backing each other up, with Ostigen Stage 5 bringing up the rear just a tiny bit, about a 10th behind in comparison, but able to lend some supporting score, as well as Bancho keeps trying to keep everything in sync at the moment, but the lead has ballooned to about 23,000 points and counting.
Yeah, the lowest accuracy of Hong Kong is beating the highest from Peru.
Yeah, definitely not what you want to see if you are.
Yeah, we are going into the solos now.
Yeah, one of the harder sections of this chart. Some elongated LNs through the 1/4s, but Meg finding a couple of pretty significant drops, losing about 0.2% in terms of their accuracy, but still able to keep themselves ahead of their closest Peruvian counterpart in Lalito for the moment.
Yeah, and Magnetus does miss again. If this continues, this lead could swing, but oh, that's a very clean trade between those Legion Stage and Akenye, so the lead's not gonna change at all.
Yeah, trades like that help
Magnetus
out.
missed again.
Oh, he's gonna start doing some damage if they're not too careful. It's really just by virtue of the fact that Quotient's still holding on to this incredible FC for the moment that's keeping this lead in check, but it is shrinking by the thousands for every drop that Meg finds.
But it might be a little too late, as we are already at the end, and that was definitely a bit of a scare from the Hong Kong side with how much Magnetus was missing. But Quotient definitely kept it together, 992k.
Yeah, it's the kind of run that you need to support those types of little finger fumbles that happen during the chart. And we're now on a 3 breakpoint streak now, as Hong Kong make it 3-1 now. There's no way we can get 4, right, Rev?
I mean, if Hong Kong pick off the rice, I don't think they're going to go for hybrid again after seeing what had just happened.
Yeah, they played with Fire on Hybrid 2. They got burned on Hybrid 1. I think they've learned, hopefully they've learned their lesson from that. Hopefully. And they decide to stick with the LNs. And I mean, it's always going to be there at the bottom of the map pool. SV2 is just right there for the taking if they ever do feel like going for it. Given what you've said about their performances last weekend, it feels like Hong Kong has a distinct advantage over Peru in that matchup there.
Yeah, not just that, but they also still have the Protect open, which is LN1 extra walkthrough. So a couple of maps still able to be picked.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely have some avenues to try and close this match out relatively cleanly. A little bit of a hiccup on Hybrid 1, but you have to explore some of those picks sometimes to see if you have some extra routes ahead of you, because as we get deeper and deeper into this tournament, we can start to see some teams begin to kind of pinch themselves off and basically pick themselves into a corner. And it looks like Hong Kong is gonna round out the hybrids. Hybrid 3.
God.
I'm not too sure about this one.
I mean, this one's technical. It has some wacky snaps. There's a speed up in the middle of the map.
Yeah, I think wacky's a generous way to describe this chart. This one
Wacky.
throws it throws some hands at you. If you're not too careful, you can find yourself just dropping accuracy left and right, hundreds, 50s, even misses if you're not too careful.
And something to be a little bit scared of if you're a Hong Kong fan, because Peru are asking Henry to join the server. Reminder, Henry MVP'd 7 out of 8 maps for Peru last weekend when they beat Ukraine 6-2.
It's not calculator we're hearing some boss music as we await Henry to join this lobby to see if they can lend their support to Peru and really kind of turn the tide of this match. Hong Kong has looked in relative control, really only looking shaky on these hybrids, which sort of begs the question, why they keep going for these?
There has to be a plan in mind, but
yeah, they definitely know something we don't.
Then we can't really fault them. Yeah,
absolutely. So basically, 1-1-1 is what we're expecting, but Hong Kong is gonna look to try and finally capitalize on one of these breakpoints. That or Peru want to continue the streak, make it 4 in a row, and make this a bit of a handshake agreement on these picks.
Yeah, that would be so crazy to see, like 4 breakpoints in a row. That is really, really rare.
Yeah, but stranger things have happened. Where there is a will, there is a way, and Henry Alex BR does join the lineup for Peru, replacing... Oh my goodness, I'm blank already.
Replacing Akenyi, yeah.
Thank you.
Alright, it's the last hybrids. All hybrids have been picked by Hong Kong themselves. 1 win, 1 loss. Let's see if Hong Kong can try and capitalize, make it a 4th here, or if Peru continues the breakpoint streak.
Yeah, the early going of this chart already begins to hit you with some of the more technical aspects of what to expect. All those awkward snaps, the staggered starts and stops to the LNs, gonna be a consistent theme along with the flams and grace notes in those rice sections, and everybody hanging on pretty nicely. A lot of 99.7s really just post layered down in that 99.1 range, accounting for a majority of this Hong Kong lead. Very fragile as we make our way into the second, third, and post layer does finally fall here.
Yeah, and this map is also extremely short, 1 minute 50 seconds. So every miss weighs even more.
Yeah, you can already see Hong Kong extending that lead to 17,000 points.
Yeah, and the nature of this map is just... these kind of patterns just continue coming at you.
Yeah, and as I was saying at the map select screen, there's a lot of very interesting release sections that can really chip away at your accuracy, and despite that, everybody looks to be pretty comfortable with what's going on as things start to calm down before this last quarter, and this last quarter really does start to pick up steam as the BPM starts to increase once again. The patterns get a lot more awkward, the releases, the starts begin to vary in snaps, and you just gotta hang on, and post layer falls off right a couple of times here, down to that 98% range, and really expanding this lead for Hong Kong here.
Yeah, this has to be the most dominant lead we've seen from Hong Kong, but there is a miss from Mewtwo, so no triple FC from them. But that is still a really good team score despite the miss.
Yeah, for sure. And the breakpoint streak is finally over. Hong Kong able to claim one of their own picks since the start of this match to make it 4-1 now and really put Peru into a bit of a bind here. What do you pick if you are on the side of Peru now?
Well, Vice maps are definitely still on the table.
But Hong Kong definitely looking like they are capable of contesting if they aren't too careful. So tread with caution and make sure that this next pick is the best pick. If not, it could be your last.
Yeah. That is definite, yeah, because if Hong Kong do take this point, it's match point. And there is a possibility Peru cannot pick after this.
Yeah, and you imagine if Hong Kong can shore up one more of these points. I mean, the LNs have been there for the taking, and SV2 is still on the board. There are some definite match point securing picks for Hong Kong to go into. So, all on the table. Gotta lay out the cards if you are Peru. No more holding back if you want to try and get yourself back into this match.
Alright, we are going to see Edison, Kojak. Okay.
Yeah, there's no better way to lay the cards out on the table than going for a core jack pick in this situation. Like I was saying earlier, this is a very black and white skill set where either you can handle the BPM or you can't. There's a lot of things that can go wrong on a pick like this. It just takes a singular lapse from anybody on your team to really send that team score into the gutter.
Something tells me this is going to be close. Last weekend, these two teams did play the Kojak map, which was Liftoff. There's a difference of 7,000 points in between them.
Yeah, it's basically a miss if the accuracy falls enough. So definitely in for a bit of a show here, and Henry departs before rejoining, probably just double checking their settings here. Definitely want to make sure everything's in order before you jump into a map like this.
Yeah, with the nature of Kojak maps, we are bound to see some very interesting scores like we did last weekend with Liftoff. Stuff like no 200s, no 100s, 150, one miss or something like that. That's extremely normal.
Yeah, that's just how core jack goes. It just takes one thing going wrong, or you can see a 7-300 run from one of the players that are a complete 100% accuracy. That's just how core jack goes. You either 100% it or you get a singular miss. So we'll see how these players do. Yeah.
This could be do or die for Peru. They have to win this.
This introduction, just a bit of a primer for what is to come. The density of these jacks is going to pick up immensely, and here we go first. Real drop quotient, 100% accuracy as we cross the 400 combo cap. What is going on here? OCGen stage 5 finding a bit of an act drop.
Yeah, that's quite low, like compared to the rest of the lobby, and Peru have the lead because of it.
You have a lobby full of people holding on to 99.9s, and you're the singular 99.8, and that is accounting for the lead. It is flickering between hundreds and a singular 1,000 points.
Yeah, the first big section already, 600 points of a difference.
That's just how it's going to be this weekend. Section. Oh, Henry finds the drop on the transition, and that's going to be huge for Hong Kong to try and take advantage of here.
Definitely. That leads slingshots to Hong Kong, 5,000 points, 6,000. And oh my gosh, the rest of Peru follow suit. Mewtwo's will trade.
Meg does find the trade back, but it's still a pretty clean drop. But OCGen stage 5 falls as well, and Meg answers back once again with another drop, and it's just off the back of Quotient, holding on to this 99.98%.
Second brick section already. We've seen a couple of misses. 4,000 points, 5,000 points of the lead now.
Quotient cannot slip from that perch that they are standing on. That is the 2,000 point, because Peru has the accuracy to answer back. They're across that 400 combo cap, and all three players, Lalito, Henry, and Akenyi, OCGen stage 5 falls, and that's swing this lead back over to Peru. Meg falls as well. No answers back from the side of Peru, and despite having a couple of drops to their name, but as I say that, Lalito and Henry answer back once again, but the accuracy stays intact going into the last quarter of the chart. It is all on the back of Quotient at the moment, having the highest accuracy in this lobby, but not having the support to let them get through it. It is 15,000 points in favor of Peru. There are no more tricks left up this map sleeve, and it looked very dicey there from the early going, but Peru managed to pull it off. And as this chart comes to an end, they're gonna stave off a potential match point situation for at least one map longer and make it 4-2 now.
Yeah, they needed to make this map count. They made it count. That is an extremely scary score from Quotient. Still not enough to bring Hong Kong to their match point 45 300s. That is disgusting.
That is terrifying. The scary part is the fact that that's probably not going to be the best score of the weekend. There are more people that can beat that, and that is terrifying. But when you need to go all in at the table, and you need to lay it all on the line, that is the kind of performance you need from your team to pull out, to keep yourself alive in a tournament like this. What a performance from Peru to answer back and try and get themselves back into this match with Hong Kong up to pick once again.
Yeah, that's a very good team score from Peru. Like, they only got 200 total, and then the rest were all just like random misses, because that's Kojak for you.
Yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes. You can have pristine accuracy and just a miss.
Okay, but now it is Hong Kong's pick. I do see LN1 SV2 as the next possible choice.
Yeah, LN3 is also maybe an outside pick. It really just depends on stylistically what you want to go for in terms of those LNs. You can either go for a more release-oriented pick, or something like SV2, just completely throw the prediction out the window and go for basically the most clear-cut pick in this pool for Hong Kong to go for, leaving it for this long, but able to potentially secure themselves a match point situation. This is a pretty interesting SV pick. It's going to be interesting to see how they do here.
Yeah, we should see Spectral come in for Peru, and we do see Resistors already in the lobby for Hong Kong. Resistors being one of the 3 Hong Kong SV players, Spectral being one of the 3 Peru SV players. We do see them in the lobby now.
Yeah, this map is a special sort of reading hell for those unfamiliar with SV charts. Pay particular attention to how the vocals line up with the staggering nature of the notes you're going to see. That is basically the entire gimmick for the better part of 3 minutes, and being able to keep that consistency going. It is so easy to anticipate or hesitate on any of the structures found in this chart.
I think 2 words to basically sum this chart up are swing and momentum. Because if you can't catch either, you're going to struggle.
For sure, it is. And even if you do have those, it is so easy to just botch an entire mini section and just drop boatloads of accuracy, or even misses if you're not too careful. I'm more than sure the players on screen have at least looked at this. This isn't really the most sight read friendly chart.
Yeah.
But as we finalize the rosters, as you mentioned, the SV specialists for both countries, Rissus and Spectro for Hong Kong and Peru, respectively, going to be backed up by Ostija on stage 5 and Meg for the side of Hong Kong, and Lalito and Akenyi going to back up Spectro for Peru.
Yep, these 6 players are basically the same 6 that played SV1 and SV2 last weekend, so no surprises there. Also, something interesting to point out, Hong Kong picked a map made by a Hong Kong player, and Peru previously just picked a map mapped by a Peru player.
Oh wow. Very interesting. So, finding their compatriots, finding some solace there. Our referee just letting the players know to bear in mind the timers, as much as we want to make sure the players are ready. They do need to make sure they get the hurry up sometimes, and they probably won't get as much lenience as we get into the 7th map of this best of 11. Peru's still looking to try and restore parity, and Hong Kong looking to try and secure themselves, at worst, a tiebreaker situation in this match. It's nice seeing a tie for even the briefest of moments.
Oh, there we go. Alright, here we go. Here comes the meat of the map.
Yeah, this is basically the gimmick for the better part of 3 minutes here. This swinging rhythm is going to be ever present outside of these verses. So keep an eye out for that. Right now, Hong Kong holding on to a very slender accuracy advantage by virtue of Spectro actually finding a couple of bit of a rough going through that opening section. 99.4% accuracy for them, but probably going to start climbing as we get into this next course. And sure enough, the trade in accuracy going to hand the lead back over to Peru here.
From O's Legions, they dropping to 99.4. This is dropping as well. Peru have the lead on an SV map. Sound the sirens. What is going on?
I mean, anything can happen when your back's against the wall. You definitely start to overperform a little bit, but people are starting to find 200s every now and again, just basically trying to keep their combo alive as we get through into the back half of the chart now. A bit of slow jam coming through here. Very easy to misread some of these structures. Oh, and there's a drop. Both Henry and Akenyi find the fall for Peru, and that's going to immediately swing this lead back over to Hong Kong for the moment.
It was the slow jam that killed Peru. All 3 players suffering one way or another. Hong Kong still all 3 FCs intact. Viscissas did pick up a bit of debris along the way, but that's not going to make 20,000 points instantly.
Yeah, there's also a pretty scary section as well. These nodes start to get clustered up very closely, and you gotta trust yourself to read through it. Everybody makes it through relatively unscathed. It's still the recovery run for Peru at the moment, but the lead has expanded to about 24,000 points because of the fact that despite Spectral holding on to the only FC for the side of Peru, they do not have the highest accuracy on their side, and everybody on Hong Kong still holding on to their FCs for the moment. Last quarter of the chart left to go. Definitely not out of the woods just yet. A lot of things can still go wrong, especially if Rissus finds the drop here going into this next slow jam.
That's a huge drop there, 98.3% there. The lowest accuracy in the lobby is a slow jam though. Will it catch anyone else?
And that was a 14,000 point swing. I think they were above that 20,000 point mark. Now 12,000 points. Cannot afford to find any more drops this late on. A bit of accuracy being dropped as well on the side of Meg. A couple of hundreds, and at least shrinks to about 6,000 points. Peru is starting to claw this back off the backs of Henry and Akenyi, starting to pick up this accuracy. This is very much on the realm of doable. Hong Kong cannot afford to find any more accuracy drops as we get to these last couple of sliders. Definitely do not underestimate the releases, and Hong Kong hang on to secure that match point situation off those 3 FCs. What a team performance despite Peru's best efforts there.
That was a lot closer than we imagined it would be.
Absolutely, and I stand corrected. 2 FCs on the side of Hong Kong. I forgot Rissus found the drop there.
Like, just in comparison, Peru and Hong Kong on SV2 last weekend, there was a difference of 446,000. This time round, it's 100th of that. It's 4,000.
Yeah, it's
That's
amazing
incredible.
it's amazing how factoring in stylistic differences on these SV charts, the variety that we're being offered this year by the SV team can really add some spice to the lower half of the map pool. And it's Peru's pick now, the opportunity to keep themselves in it. Not a lot of avenues left for them. They do still have all 3 rice picks, but they're going to need to pick up a couple of breakpoints if they want to have a date on that tiebreaker with Hong Kong here.
Peru still have 3 rice maps. Hong Kong have 2 LN maps. Cosmo Station's coming out, protect for Peru.
Yeah, no better time than now. It's potentially last chance saloon for Peru, and I think Hong Kong might need to take their time out. gotta love it when external issues play a factor in these matches. Gotta make sure everybody's comfortable before you get into the map.
Yeah, we do see Quotient back in now.
Yeah, Quotient checking back in. Rissus is doing their job very effectively, helping Hong Kong secure that SV pick, despite it being a little bit close for comfort. And Henry checks back in on behalf of Spectro for Peru.
Oh wait, actually it was Lalito coming in for Spectro.
Oh, my bad. I lose track because they all shift around in the lobby. Bit of a memory of a goldfish type moment there. But right now we're just waiting on Meg to return to ready up so we can get into Rice 2 here. It'll be pretty interesting considering...
Yeah, this is jump stream.
Yeah, arguably one of the most comfortable skill sets for all players in this tournament. Everybody seems to have taken the Rice 1 and 2 categories of tournaments lately and just run with them to the moon. They can go beyond the 247 BPM that we're going to see here and push it sometimes upwards to about 300. So this might test a couple players, but I expect some pretty clean runs from some of the more physical players on these teams.
Yeah, this is now that true do or die moment for Peru. If they lose this, it is over. Peru have to win in order to still stay alive in this World Cup.
Yeah, no more room for error for them as we get to this first jump stream section. Everybody holding on to some pretty pristine accuracy, 99.8 across the board. People kind of dipping down just a little bit here and there as they pick up a couple of rushes of 300s, but everybody survives to that 400 combo cap with their FCs intact.
There is no lead whatsoever.
No, absolutely not. This is going to be similar to Edison, where you blink once and the map is basically over for you. This is thankfully one of the longest maps in this pool, so you do have some room for recovery if you do find a drop, but you definitely don't want to spot your opponent a miss if you can help it. A couple of 200s coming out here now from a couple of the players, finding a bit of an accuracy drop down into that 99.6 range, going to give Peru the lead for the moment here.
Yeah, the lead is now stabilized in favor of Peru. Nolito matching Quotient, Henry matching O's Legion stage. It is just a Kenny beating out Mac Mewtwo's, who drops to 99.4.
Oh, but Akengi finds the drop, not answered back by Meg. This is the opening that Hong Kong needed to swing this lead back in their favor. There is a bit of an accuracy gap between, but Henry finding the drop as well, going to help solidify this lead for Hong Kong for the moment, but it's still so close as Meg answers it back, but Henry answers back as well. Nobody wants to hang on to the lead for the moment here as we cross into this break section, into the back half of the chart. An opportunity for the players to compose themselves for this last gamut.
Yeah, Quotient and O's Legion stage are just pulling Hong Kong slightly over the line.
It is 4,000 points in favor of Hong Kong for the moment. A third of the map left to go, and it's going to grow now as Kenya and Henry find the next couple of drops. Lolito, the only FC surviving for Peru, the highest accuracy for them, trying to maintain pace with Quotient, who has been dominating on these right picks. But Meg finding up a bit of a sus drop as we get into the next break before things pick up once again. A bit of hands begin to get introduced, and the stamina might be running out for Meg here as we cross into this last eighth of the shot. 9.1.
That's a huge drop for Meg, and they're dropping consistently now. And their lead is shrinking. But that's a miss on Peru. Is there enough time? If Meg drops again, but trades with Henry, but this is so close because Meg is dropping so much. But Henry misses again.
It's the stamina versus the trades. It's the fact that Ostige and Stage 5 and Quotient are holding on to such dominant accuracy, and every time that Meg drops, it feels like it gets answered back by two players on the side of Peru. And despite it all, it is going to be Hong Kong taking the final breakpoint, hammering the last nail in the coffin for Peru, and knocking them out of the Osmania 4-Key World Cup in the quarterfinal stage by a score of 6-2.
Double V1 double S from Quotient and Lalito, both easily topping the lobby, so really good job from both players. But it is going to be commiserations for Peru, who are going to be knocked out of the quarterfinals round of this year's World Cup. Hong Kong will be advancing.
Yeah, their weekend not done just yet, but they await to see who the winner is between Germany and Spain. So we'll see them again tomorrow as we wrap up this block of one match to kick off the quarterfinals weekend. And oh boy, what a way to start. A lot of fireworks being exchanged during that match, and it will be Hong Kong looking to see if they can secure their spot in the semifinals tomorrow. But with that being said, that will do it for us here. We have another match coming up at 6:15 UTC, and that is going to be Vietnam going up against Australia.
Yeah, we got a gauntlet of matches. I mean, you can look at the upcoming matches. We see stuff like United States, Chile, France, Malaysia, Singapore, Netherlands, Spain, Germany, and Korea, Thailand. Just a couple of matches to point out in an absolute schedule of a quarterfinals round.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of high octane action coming up here. Definitely do not want to miss it. But before we sign off for now, very important announcement. You guys have been waiting for them ever so patiently, and they are finally here. The banners for the Osmania 4-Key World Cup 2023 have arrived, and you can find them in the O store for the low price of $2.50 USD. Rav, you want to give us a little bit more information about them?
Yeah, you can purchase banners for any of the teams in the World Cup, even if they are eliminated, just to show your support. But of course, if you do manage to purchase the banner of the winning team of this year's World Cup, you get to have the banner for a while longer. So yeah, there is the link in the Twitch chat. Go ahead and check it out.
Yep, and until then, we'll catch you guys later.
Yep, see you for Vietnam and Australia.